hmm it's going to be the holiday season. Yeah. 33% more. Ouch. Uh-huh. For a tequila that's made in Mexico. Yeah. Mm. Halloween is very special to those that are witches. Yeah. Werewolves. Ouch. Zombies. Uh-huh. The vampires that like to suck your blood. Ouch. But it's not one of my favorite holidays. Yes. And as much as we try to downplay it in Christianity, it's one of those that I really don't like to celebrate. See, I have no desire, yes, to have sex with a witch, a werewolf, ouch, a blood-sucking vampirist. Yes, I had thought that I would spend the holidays with my family. Yes, and we would go and do something different than what we normally do in the United States. But I'm having some difficulty getting the actual laws enforced. Now, there's another holiday after that called Thanksgiving. Yes. Could you check on the turkeys out there and find out how big they are right now? Yeah. It's been said that if you want to seed the whole population, you pick those foods that you know that everybody eats because of the special holiday season that we experience. And about 3 or 4 months ago, I wanted to run through the turkeys that would have been little chicks at that time. Yeah. And I thought, well, let's just see how they're growing because all of us are going to want to have a turkey, aren't we, right now? Now, I'm big into feed, food, and fertilizer, and I wanted to replace all the chicken coops with recycled garbage chicken coops. Yeah. I had redesigned the whole chicken thing considering the amount of chicken that we eat as a nation. But when you talk about live viruses and vaccinations, yes. And then you have the effect of technology. Yes. I mean, not like a chicken watches TV. You know, how do you reprogram the television that a chicken is watching? I don't know. High definition antennas. 5G. Maybe some fluorescent lighting. I mean, how many teeth does a chicken have in their beak? Yeah. Could you get me all the chicken and all the turkey of this nation? I emailed those in the poultry industry, yes, about my want to increase the size of chicken coops by 4 times their actual size, and I wanted the chicken manure. Pooh! I thought it would be real good for fertilizer. I really did. Yep. Now, this forgery, yes, Every time that you find a completed written instrument, yeah, that means one which is fully drawn with respect to every essential feature thereof. Yeah. That would be the dissolution of marriage, where you said that it was final and conclusive that I was going to pay child support. Yes. That my wife was going to get custody of my sons. Yes. That she didn't have to admit the stipulation order. No. That the courts of the state of Washington didn't have to regulate. Yeah. There's some problem. With you issuing a dissolution of marriage without there being a stipulation and order. Yes. Without having any proof of service to me as the actual respondent. Yes. And then the fraudulent use of mental health evaluations, as we look at it, I'd like to know how many individuals have had their Fifth Amendment rights violated. Yes. Because of the obligation of the court to require them to have a mental health evaluation unnecessarily. Right. So that you can have them admitted into a mental institution instead of them having the right to remain silent. Yes. So when we go through the mental health evaluations of every county, yes, every state, and all federal courts, yes, of all of the individuals that did have the mental health evaluation that did have to talk to the professional person, how many of them went to the mental institution? And then how many of them went to prison? Yes. And how many of them would have had their case affected if they had said nothing? Yeah, your fraudulent use of the traffic citation? Yes. Where you, as the cop, could have sat there? Yes. And could have made up any story you wanted? Yes. And the jury would have believed you because of the uniform that you wear when testifying in court? Yeah. You know, the public is easily influenced because of the employees of the government. Now, every time I see on television an individual that has a badge, yes, I seem to think that they have some authority to arrest. Oh, and that they would never lie on the witness stand. Yes. And that judges that are employees of courts, yes, they would never enforce their own fraud. Now, I'm going to go through all the mental health evaluations for the last 30 years. Yes. And then I'm going to look at the actual convictions and the individuals that were incompetent to stand trial. Yes. And for every time that you obligated them to have to speak to somebody, yes, that you admitted it into court as evidence, yes, where you found them incompetent to stand trial, yes, because you didn't want them to have a jury trial where they had the Fifth Amendment right to not speak. I'm going to sue you. It's one of those class action lawsuits that involves a large amount of tort damages. It looks like judges had forgot about the Fifth Amendment right to not be tried for infamous crimes. Yes, because of the prosecuting attorney's corrupt way. Now, since you won't admit the evidence that I wasn't there and I gave you the evidence, yes, and since you refuse, to actually enforce the laws, yeah, because you have to enforce your fraud, yes, he does. I'm gonna want to sue you for violating.